Today we're being a little bit safer. We got a pallet and a truck while we put on these guys. And the sun comes up. Beautiful day. We'll be sheeting today. On the other side now. Putting boards up. I'd rather have a basket on this and be tethered off. If I ever build another house, I'm gonna arrange for that. But I don't know what to do. We already paid for this. So we just climbed up. I climbed up here. We used the truck to and I nailed in the chalk line 4 feet up. And then Matt climbed up on the truck, got the long 150-foot chalk line. He took it down there, and Greg had climbed up in. And then we lifted it up and over and laid it and marked the 4-foot chalk line so we could get the first 4-foot strip in of sheeting. And then we'll just run off that. Work our way up. Hopefully we get this whole side done today. And maybe even, well, for sure I'd like to get the fascia up on the other side and then get the other side done tomorrow. So the fascia is on this whole length, the west side, and then it runs all the way past the peak on both ends so that we can sheet this whole side. And then we'll come around this afternoon, get the fascia on the other side, and if that's the end of the day, then we'll sheet the other side tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll start sheeting the other side as well. So we're gonna lift the sheets with that unit, the lift, and come around, lift them up, and should be a nice steady process with 2 guns. We'll have 2 staple guns going, and we're using those 7/16 1.5 inch 16 gauge staples that Greg talked me into switching over to when I sheeted the garage. They're so much faster than the 2 3/8 nails for sheeting. All right now I'm gonna be in the machine and they're gonna be up there while we sheet this first row. And then we'll figure out something else. We got the first one on. Seems to be going smooth. I called my wife, said, hey, let's get a safety harness and tether. So she's gonna try and find one. We should have done that before. I just feel uncomfortable having my son up there. When I was up there, I was okay, but I thought I should have a safety tether too. So anyway, this is where we're at. What's up? Ready? I'm running the truck, so I can't really. I'm trying to watch Greg and the little nuances he does as he goes. And the first row, I mean, they were just falling evenly on center because we had marked every 2 feet and it was just set. But the second row, I've noticed he's having to push and pull. He had to clip a couple of those metal folding braces just because they had a little too much hold on the truss, and he needed to push and pull them slightly. And just as he goes on that second row, he's trying to make sure they're all centered on 2 feet. And he said it should start flowing sweet from there, but sometimes those trusses have a little bit of wiggle to them or whatever. It's nothing bad. He's just taking care to make sure that everything falls on seams at the 2 foot. And sometimes he has to push and pull a little on those trusses that are sitting loose like that. One row done, and we're working on the second row. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see that truss right there, it's got some wave to it. So Greg says that he's having to push and pull some of them, and just to get them to be dead set. And he likes being able to manipulate them from up on top. Having those metal strips is nice to keep them spaced, but he's having to he's clipped maybe 3 times, so not too bad in a 90-foot run. just to make sure he stays on seam all the way up. He likes to be able to manipulate that. I feel a little guilty just mostly watching, but I'm running the machine, so I'm in and out, moving it, and that just seems to be right now the most efficient with Matt up there. My wife's trying to find a safety harness so we can harness him off, just to be on the safe side. Should have done that before, but so we pushed a new setup here. That way they can both stand on the safety of the roof now that's mostly patched in and just pull it. We should be harnessed up there too, but that way then my son's not just sitting there on top of there trying to maneuver around. My wife's looking for a safety harness at one of the places nearby, but closest Home Depot or Lowe's is 2 hours away. Having this thing is so nice though. But now I feel dumb just sitting here. Maybe I'll get a ladder and get up there. One thing I would recommend is getting a 16-foot trailer. Usually 99% of the stuff I have delivered, but sometimes I have to pick something up real quick and I can't wait for delivery here, which could take days. It's just whenever they have a chance. And because it's a small family-owned business here in this rural valley, so get a 16-foot trailer, our fascia board. Hey. All right, half of it's done. And we're about to, I ran and grabbed some more lumber and we're about to put fascia on this side. Before we do that, because he straightened out perfectly all these trusses as he went to make sure they fell on seams, You can see sometimes there's a curve. So the point's right there, the point's right there, but in the middle there's a bit of a curve. So we're gonna climb up in there and knock out all those cross braces. And then we'll put our fascia on so that the ends aren't kind of twisted slightly when we put the fascia on. So we're just climbing around in the rafters and we're gonna start knocking these cross braces out. Tapping out the nails as we go. And then we'll put the fascia on the front end and sheet that front row. Oh, I'll put the fascia on this side too. We're leaving a 2-inch gap at the top so we can do what they call a roll vent. And the roofer will do that, but we'll leave about a 2-inch gap. He said he could cut it or we could just leave it there, but we'll leave it there ourselves. So he could do a roll vent the whole 90 feet. All right, I'm back in the saddle and we're putting the fascia up. This time I got Matt on top of the truck. We're safe. We also went and bought a safety harness and attachment for Matt if he's up on this loader again, which he might not be, I'm not sure, we'll see. And when we have to do the eaves work, I want to be able to hook ourselves in once Greg's gone. This morning I did this side, and then today, or this afternoon, Greg's doing the other pitch because he's gonna close in the top peak. I've never closed in the top peak and I wasn't sure exactly what to do, so I'm gonna watch him. So I've pulled this thing as close as I can to the house to get him right under the eave. And then I've got a device back here that'll tip the whole unit. So I just tipped him over towards this. It's kind of a tricky angle. I'm not sure what to do. Looks like it's got it for the most part. Here, so sheeting's all on, looks good. We had to rip 40-inch wide across the top to meet the peak. We left one little opening there so we'd climb up a ladder and access the roof as much as we wanted to until we're all done sheeting it. Don't need to, but it was convenient for during the day. And then we were able to wrap up, tie in all the fascia at the end of the day and put it all together so it's all up there. And then there's some overhangs here, and then there's some on the other side, and there will be here as well. And we think we're just going to take that router and rip it right up and down and just cleanly take those off. You can use a circular saw, but that router with the plunge bit is just so slick. So there's the fascia connected. One little overhang piece down there we'll slice off when we go by with the first row, but we plan on taking the last of our sheeting and starting at 7 a.m. in the morning, and I'll bet we'll be done by noon. So, day and a half to sheet the roof, so pretty nice. Yeah, once we took off all those cross braces, a lot of the trusses straightened out, although you can still see they have a natural wave to them. Some of them do. And that's just because of the length of the truss. They're 40 feet wide or more. And so he straightens those out as he sheets the little slight curves to them. But it's been great. So it was awesome having Greg helping us with that, because he's just so efficient and smooth at those little things. I'd always have to be stopping to YouTube stuff and tips and tricks and stuff like that. And that way I could drive the unit. And I used to drive one in college for our cement crew from time to time, moving equipment and stuff like that. So it all came back, except for one little I was like, feels like something's rubbing as we came along here. And I looked, and the tire rubbed up, the back tire. And it was because you can have it in two forms of steering. You can have all four wheels steering or just two, and I had switched it to just two, but I didn't notice that the two back wheels were just slightly askew. And so when I thought I was moving in a straight line, the back end was moving out just slowly on me, and it rubbed a couple of feet here. And then we switched it back and got it back out straight. So, no harm done. Day 2 tomorrow. Wrap up the sheeting. Windows arrived, and hopefully will be delivered tomorrow or the next day. Start popping those in. And the roofer's coming to shingle. Just real quick, here's the router bit we're using. So it plunges. I mean, you got to create a hole for it, and then you set it in there. And that wheel right there rides against the 2x4 or 2x6 underneath, and then that cutter just spins through and cuts that's how we cut out every window and door, and it's just a perfect cut, and it just goes real slick. So we just throw it in our router, and that's how we're going to trim those edges up and down. This one's getting a little worn because we've clipped a few nails, so I think I might throw the new one in so we're not fighting it up on the roof. That's it.